Since its founding in 1998, Rockstar Games had been instrumental in driving the medium into more mature territory. With its signature Grand Theft Auto series, it introduced adult themes into a space that had once been just for kids. Needless to say, this brought with it its own share of controversy, but Rockstar took it in stride as they watched their sales soar. But all that came crashing down around them when in 2004, a hacker uncovered hidden code in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for a sex minigame, Hot Coffee. The resulting political and legal backlash was the company's darkest hour, and for a few years afterwards, Rockstar went legit with friendlier titles like Table Tennis and Bully. But by 2007, the bad boys of the gaming world had waited long enough. Rockstar would be going back to what they did best. And they'd be doing it the best they'd ever done it. For their return to the world of stolen cars, Rockstar would be going HD. Their San Diego studio had created an in-house engine, the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, or RAGE. Their newest Grand Theft Auto game would take RAGE and use it to construct the most detailed, accurate, and active city ever seen in a video game. And the city they'd be building was Liberty City, their parody version of New York. For all the many places their series had gone, Liberty City was always the one everything else was compared to, and it was the one setting that always took place in the modern day. The last time they'd gone there was Grand Theft Auto 3. Therefore, despite all the other games between them, this trip would be Grand Theft Auto 4. GTA 4 would bring with it some major changes to the franchise, some of which had nothing to do with the game itself. Every Grand Theft Auto before it had come to the PlayStation 2 first and only later came to other platforms, a so-called timed exclusive. But this time, the game would hit both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 simultaneously. On top of this, Microsoft then paid Rockstar between $50 to $75 million to give the 360 timed exclusives on any downloadable content they'd make for the game. The series that had helped launch the PlayStation 2 to the top of its class would now favor the Xbox. Indeed, the first time GTA 4 was ever announced to the world was at Microsoft's E3 2006 press conference, as a tattoo on Peter Moore's arm. Rockstar spared no expense on their baby. Though even he didn't know for sure, Rockstar North producer Leslie Benzies guessed the game cost $100 million, which would make it by far the most expensive game of all time. And when the rights holders to the song Walk the Night proved impossible to find, Rockstar hired a private investigator to find them. No stone would be left unturned to make Grand Theft Auto 4 the very best it could be. As usual, the new GTA was set to come out in October. However, due to technical issues with the next-gen consoles, they were forced to delay the game to spring 2008. While it wasn't what they wanted, it did help drive the game's hype to a fever pitch. After the hot coffee fiasco with San Andreas, there had been some question as to whether anybody wanted Grand Theft Auto anymore. The answer was absolutely yes.
I need money. This pays, and I'm good at it.
When the game finally did release on April 29th, 2008, it sold 3.6 million units by midnight. A week later, that number was up to 6 million for a total of $500 million in 7 days, the fastest-selling entertainment release in history. It became one of the highest-rated games of all time, often earning a perfect review score from the press. They'd done it again. GTA 4 followed the story of Niko Bellic, an Eastern European immigrant trying and failing to stay legit in Liberty City's seedy underworld. It was a sprawling crime epic that focused on the inner demons of its heroes, both grandiose and intimate at the same time. The tone was more sophisticated than previous titles, though tongue-in-cheek humor and over-the-top action were still in there. The city itself breathed with its own life. Citizens had their own schedules that unfolded with or without the player's intervention. GTA 4 was the most immersive experience Rockstar had ever made. And if that wasn't enough, they would also introduce multiplayer this time around, letting up to 16 players duke it out across the entire landscape. Combined with the epic story, it was a must-have combination. Except for Jack Thompson, who filed another lawsuit. It would be his last, since he would be disbarred later that year and forbidden from practicing law. Rockstar made no comment. But they weren't done with Liberty City yet. Having spent so much time making the city as deep and real as possible, they decided that for their new downloadable content, all they'd have to do was create a few new missions and characters and set them all in the same space. The results were almost full games in their own right, with their own huge storylines and well-drawn characters. The Lost and the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony. They are often cited as some of the finest examples of DLC on the market, and they were even packaged on a disc as episodes from Liberty City, so that even those not interested in Nico Bellic could play these titles. Rockstar's next big title came out of their San Diego studio, Red Dead Redemption.
What a pleasant surprise, Mr. Marston. We're the bad guys. We enforce the rules. And while the rules may not be perfect, the alternative is hell.
The title was first shown in early form at E3 2005 as a presentation in the PlayStation 3's world premiere. It was used to show off the PS3's power, a huge vote of confidence in the Rage engine from Sony. It took a little while to finish off the game since it didn't release until May 18th, 2010. But when it did, it brilliantly showcased Rockstar's signature attention to tone and detail, perfectly capturing the feel of a Western. While obviously in the same franchise as 2004's Red Dead Revolver, it did not follow the plot or any of the characters. Instead, redemption would take place at the very end of the Old West, in 1911, a period almost never visited in fiction. The massive areas in the game had both Wild West towns and all the expanses in between to explore. Reviews were absolutely stellar, with critics saying they had mapped the best parts of GTA into another world. Once again, they'd turned a so-so franchise into a monster success. But doing so didn't come cheap. It has been estimated that the game cost between $80 to $100 million to make. Twice in a row, Rockstar had spent more money on one title than any other publisher. And if that wasn't enough, they hired Western director John Hillcoat to make them a 30-minute machinima that aired on Fox. Clearly, they have no sense of limitation.
Hello, old friend. Been a long time.
Looking forward, Rockstar appears to be moving away from GTA, at least for the time being. Their next big titles are the long-awaited Max Payne 3 from the Vancouver studio and the PS3 exclusive Cold War game, Agent from Rockstar North. But no matter what they're working on, one thing they have achieved consistently is a pitch-perfect tone and style for each game, whether it's in the neon-drenched streets of Florida or the sweeping vistas of the Wild West. Their combination of mature themes, social commentary, and escapist fun have garnered them both hatred from media watchdogs and glowing praise from fans and critics. One way or the other, they have helped to change the face of the medium forever. And if the past is any indication, their best is yet to come.